Rule 18. Responsibilities between vessels. Except where Rules 9, 10 and 13 otherwise require. So this opening statement says, except where the rules that apply in narrow channels, traffic separation schemes and for overtaking, apart from those rules, the following will apply. A power-driven vessel underway shall keep out of the way of a vessel not under command, a vessel restricted in her ability to manoeuvre, a vessel engaged in fishing, and a sailing vessel. The rule then goes on to say, a sailing vessel underway shall keep out of the way of a vessel not under command, a vessel restricted in her ability to manoeuvre, a vessel engaged in fishing. Further, a vessel engaged in fishing when underway shall, so far as possible, keep out of the way of a vessel not under command and a vessel restricted in her ability to manoeuvre. Any vessel other than a vessel not under command or a vessel restricted in her ability to manoeuvre shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, avoid impeding the safe passage of a vessel constrained by her draught, exhibiting the signals in Rule 28. A vessel constrained by her draught shall navigate with particular caution, having full regard to her special condition. So that part then slots in a constrained by draught vessel underneath a not under command vessel and a restricted inability to manoeuvre vessel, but above, in priority terms, a fishing vessel, a sailing vessel and a power-driven vessel. The signals prescribed in Rule 28 are a day shape of a black cylinder and at night time 3 red lights in a vertical line. Both of those indicate that a vessel is constrained by her draught. And thus under Rule 18 a hierarchy is born. Here we can now clearly see a list of those vessels that have an order of priority. Not under command and restricted inability to manoeuvre are at the top of the list because everybody needs to give way to them because they cannot move. One for an exceptional circumstance and the other because of the nature of their work. Then we all have to give way to a vessel constrained by her draught, the reason being that she can't move out of the way because she would run aground. Then we give way to a fishing vessel because fishing vessels will be hampered by their gear and their area that they're taking up will be larger than the vessel itself because of their fishing gear. Next in the list, power-driven vessels, the most manoeuvrable of all vessels, have to give way to sailing vessels because sailing vessels aren't as manoeuvrable as a power-driven vessel. A seaplane on the water shall, in general, keep well clear of all vessels and avoid impeding their navigation. In circumstances, however, where risk of collision exists, she shall comply with the rules of this part. What that means is, seaplanes should never get in the way of a vessel that can only travel on the water. However, if there is a risk of collision, she's a vessel propelled by her machinery, so she would obey the rules of this part as if she was a power-driven vessel. That means she would obey a crossing situation, a head-on situation, the overtaking rule, give way and stand on vessels, and this hierarchy that's under Rule 18. A wing in ground craft shall, when taking off, landing and in flight near the surface, keep well clear of all other vessels and avoid impeding their navigation. A wing in ground craft operating on the water surface shall comply with the rules of this part as a power-driven vessel. A wing in ground craft is a special type of plane that has to fly close to a surface in order to work. So these planes fly just above the surface of the sea. When they're in flight, they have to keep out of everybody's way. However, just like a seaplane, when they're operating on the water, they obey the rules as if they were a power-driven vessel. Let's take a closer look at the shapes and signals that identify these vessels then. A not under command vessel, by day, displays 2 black balls, one above the other, and by night, 2 red lights in a vertical line. A vessel that's restricted in her ability to manoeuvre, by day displays a diamond between 2 balls, and at night time, a white light between 2 red lights, again in a vertical line. As we've already seen, a vessel constrained by her draught shall display a black cylinder at daytime or 3 red lights in a vertical line. A fishing vessel by day will display 2 black cones, apexes pointing towards each other, or by night a red over a white light if she's fishing and a green over a white light if she's trawling or pair trawling. A sailing vessel will display bow and stern lights, and if she starts to use her engine instead of sailing, she will display a motoring light, a steaming light, and the power-driven vessel will display steaming lights, stern light, bow lights as well. Seaplanes must display the lights of a power-driven vessel, so they have a red port light, a green starboard light, and also a flashing red light at the tail to indicate that they're an aeroplane.